I am sure you already know that changing your thinking can affect and change your feelings. And so what I want to do is teach you today a specific way, a way to think about things that will help you better regulate your emotions. Particularly when you're having a really hard situation, something that's just sending you over the top. Hi, I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and welcome to My 5 Minds. This is where you're going to learn how to feel better, do better, and be better. By learning a new neuropsychology, it's called systems or systemology. And it basically understands that you are a system. Your brain works as a system. And we're going to learn today a technique called Change the Why, and it's going to help you change the way you think and the way you feel. Tess is a patient of mine. She came in. She's probably a longer-term patient of mine. I don't have a lot of long-term patients, but she's probably longer than some. And she came in and she wanted to talk about something that had happened a year and a half ago, but was still bothering her today. I don't know quite why it was so pressing at this moment, but she felt like she was ready to change it, ready to turn it around. Now, the situation was that about a year and a half ago, her daughter needed to be dropped off at school for like some zero period activity, really early in the morning, way before anybody's awake. And she thought, well, while I'm dropping off my daughter, I'll stop at the market and return. She had bought a can opener that she couldn't figure out how to work. It was one of those new fancy dancy little can openers, and she's not fancy dancy. So she wanted to see if she can return it. So she drops her daughter off and heads back to the store. And it's so early in the morning that the manager isn't there yet. And so one of the clerks says, well, manager's not here, but I think we could do it for you. Let's see if we can exchange it. So he's nice enough to exchange the can opener. While she's at the store, she thinks, well, maybe I could pick up something. And so she's looking around and she sees that there's a sale on some breakfast cereals that she could get. 2 boxes, both discounted, and if you buy the 2 boxes, you get free milk. She's like, okay, I can do that. So she purchases all that, and then she's walking out into the parking lot and to get into her car, and she's thinking, that seemed a little bit more expensive than I thought. She looks at the receipt. The 2 boxes of cereal were not only not on sale, but they also charged her for the gallon of milk that was supposed to be free. So she's like, oh man. She walks back into the store. She finds this clerk again, and she says, hey, I bought these things on sale. None of them came up on sale. Can we make an adjustment here? And he's like, oh, really? At first he was really helpful and cooperative. Now he's feeling a little bit annoyed. Come on, okay. So they try to make this exchange, and it turns out that he really can't make the exchange without the manager there. So she says, well, can we just return it then? Because she knows he can return it because she just returned the can opener. And then he loses it. The clerk just starts freaking out. Well, not freaking out, but he's mad. He's ticked. What? Okay, I'm going to return this for you. I'm going to exchange this for you, but you can never exchange anything at the store ever again. Really? So, but that's his declaration. That's his upset flowing over. So he exchanges that, gives her back her money, and she stomps off. Well, you already know how the story goes. She never goes back. She never goes back to that store a year and a half later. And in fact, as she talks about it, she's still upset. Well, what's going on? Remember we did a show on the Thinkerator? Our brain evaluates everything that's happening to us. Well, her Thinkerator, the situation is clearly like a 1. But her Thinkerator is rating it probably a 10 at the time, more like an 8 now. But she's still, a year and a half later, still supercharged about it. What's going on? Well, let's go to our mind map and see if we can map out what's happening. Again, always to make change, we have to do 3 things. We have to see our patterns, We have to interrupt our patterns, and then we can replace our patterns. So let's go to our mind map and look at what's going on. What I want you to do is I want you to look at your thinking brain, what we call Leo. Leo is your left neocortex. Logic, reason, all that kind of stuff. When things happen, Leo will look at why. He'll analyze what's happening here. Why did this happen? And so he looks at this and he thinks, why is this happening? Well, for the most part, she can see that the clerk is a jerk. That's his thing, that he's upset. But there must be something else going wrong because she's still upset. She's still charged. So we start talking a little bit about why. Why is she still charged? The clerk's a jerk. Okay, so what? Why are you still upset? So as we start talking about it, what we begin to discover is that her dad was an alcoholic. And he was not a nice alcoholic. He was a mean alcoholic. And as a little girl, she felt like it was kind of like her responsibility to make sure he never got mad. She tried to be quiet. She tried to stay out of the way. She did everything she could to avoid setting him off, because anything could set him off. And then when he would blow, she'd feel like, oh, she did something wrong. So as we looked at that, we thought, well, do you think maybe that Leo, your left neocortex, your thinking brain, is saying, why is this happening? And it's falling back to old answers? Again, it's probably unconscious. She's probably not thinking and intending it. But my guess is that she's reacting with the same response she did as a child. It's a pattern. It's wired into her brain. As she thinks, why is he upset? I must have done something wrong. She starts picturing these things that happened as a child. Dad being mad, dad blowing up, things going wrong. As she starts remembering, picturing those things in her mind, her right neocortex, her emotional brain begins to charge. She begins to become more and more distressed and upset. As she becomes upset, B, her body mind, moves into fight or flight response. As B starts flooding, thinking mind gets reinforced. Oh my gosh, it must be my fault. It must be my fault. And the whole pattern becomes a positive feedback loop. As we map it out, we can do our step one. We can see what's going on. And as we look at what's going on, what we're doing is activating conscious mind. Sometimes we call her Connie. As we get our conscious mind online, we can become able to kind of step back and say, okay, let's see this big picture. Now, step two, we want to help Tess to interrupt the pattern. Now, she's already tried for a year thinking about, well, the clerk's a jerk. It's not me. I don't have to worry about this. But it hasn't really worked. So continuing that kind of thinking isn't going to be really helpful. So I say, well, let's do a pattern interrupt where we change Leo's thinking. We change your thinking brain's thinking about why this is happening. And let's shift it off of blame altogether. Let's not worry about the clerk being a jerk or you doing something wrong, because your brain is still looping in this good guy, bad guy kind of thinking. Could there be another reason why the clerk's upset? She thinks about it. And I, having a little bit more experience with it, I said, hey, I got an idea. What if we imagined that he wasn't feeling well? Could that be possible? Do people get grumpy? Do people get upset when they're not feeling well? Absolutely. So I said, well, what if we imagined the clerk had hemorrhoids? Don't ask me to describe to you what hemorrhoids are. Look it up if you need to, but they are painful in the derriere. And maybe he's got these hemorrhoids that are really hurting him. He's been up all night working. He's working the late shift or the night shift. He's probably in a little bit of pain. And I had her take her right neocortex and picture it. Imagine him kind of waddling through the store. And as she does, as she pictures this silly picture of the clerk in pain, she begins to laugh. She begins to smile. That's what I'm looking for. She's eliciting from her emotional mind a whole different emotion. And the emotion now isn't blame or anger. It's funny. It's humor. And as she starts to think about how silly that picture is of the clerk uptight, her body-mind relaxes. And her body-mind relaxes, her thinking brain again can start to let go of the negative thoughts. And now we've created a positive feedback loop that's working for us, not against us. That exercise is called change the why. We're going to change why something happened. Just as a general rule, I want you to always remember that when you're evaluating a situation, if you personalize the situation and you say, it's about me, you're going to be upset. But if you can shift it and focus on the other person or the circumstance, it'll always make you feel better. Here we added one more dimension, humor. And I'm big on humor because I think that's really where we start to shift our emotions. So I added humor. Yeah, the guy's probably in pain. Homework. Homework for you. Homework for any time that you're getting upset. I want you to step out of the situation first. And I want you to see the pattern. I want you to become conscious. Move up into your conscious mind. Step 1, see your pattern. Then step 2, I want you to look at, part of, I guess, step 1 still, is look at the why. Why are you upset? What are you telling yourself? What is the explanation you're telling yourself for whatever it is that's happening? If it's about you, it's probably going to make you upset. If it's about the other person or about the circumstance, it will help you calm down. And then again, add humor. That's the interrupt. Change that why so it's not you. So it's more about the other person. Try it for yourself. You will see for sure how easy it works to shift your own emotions. I want to hear your comments below. I want to hear how it worked for you. I want to hear what were some of the things that you changed in your why to help you feel better. If you like this video, like the video. If you want to learn more about systems and about patterns and changing your patterns, subscribe. I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and this is my 5 minds. Thanks for watching.